This one's for the culture. Me and wifey in the room thinking of a master plan, thinking how we can influence the culture from where we stand. Knowing that our steps are ordered by the master's hand, still 10 toes down, we ain't switching up the stance. The mission of this music ain't just to make them dance, trying to tell them about the rock.
And welcome to episode 17 of The Bond Chronicles. I am the wonderful host, Mr. Bond Chronicles on Instagram, Mr. Raymond on Twitter, and I am joined by my lovely host.
I completely blanked. Mrs. Bond Chronicles on Instagram, Ms. Bond Chronicle on Twitter, Robyn Bond on Facebook.
Yeah. So, last pod, for those of our listeners who are with us, there was a lot of shade thrown at myself because I forgot my name. Quickly thereafter, Ms. Bond Chronicles forgot her name as well. Today we had an utter failure of a complete loss of all names. So be careful how you throw stones in glass houses because the universe has a way of correcting you.
You done?
So I am done for the moment, and we'll see how today's episode goes because there's some things I want to discuss with you. But first, we want to shout out to all of our listeners. If this is your first time, thank you so much. For those of you who have been rocking with us for a minute, we definitely appreciate y'all.
Now.
Yeah, a few months, minute. It's all relative in the course of time. But yes, definitely for those who have been with us for a few months, thank you very much to the YouTube audience, to the Anchor audience, to the Apple Podcast audience, to the EB Radio audience. Just all of y'all. I don't want to feel like I'm leaving anybody out, but
it's quite a few though.
It is quite a few. We posted last time, and I want to shout it out again. We have thebondchronicles.com that is live, where you can get a ton of information. We have merch. We have our background because we don't have enough time to get into all of that on each and every episode. Plus, I'm sure you don't want to hear it each and every episode, and typically we almost run out of time. Anyway,
we do always run out of time.
So thank you so much. We definitely don't take that for granted as the numbers continue to climb, likes, subscribers, all of that. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe each and every episode. If you're on our Facebook page, we've posted some updated content, same as our Instagram. And that leads to today, which is a historic day for a lot of reasons.
Today?
Not today.
This weekend.
This past weekend, we had the pleasure of celebrating a historic time. Thank you, co-host, for correcting me there.
Yeah, no
typically,
problem.
you make that mistake, but this time it was me. So thank you for
more shot. Okay.
Staying with you there. But June 19th, we had the pleasure of celebrating that this weekend, reflecting on that. Sadly, in this country, you never get to forget that you are Black. But you do have to take what you can get. So we'll delve a little deeper into that from a different couple perspectives. But definitely was a beautiful weekend in my perspective, and I'll let you kind of talk on yours. I saw a lot of education. I saw a lot of, tempered elation over Joe Biden's and his administration making Juneteenth a national holiday, but recognizing the dog and pony show that politics can be when it comes to Black people and Black culture. So no, I was excited for that. Obviously, we celebrated it. I wore colors specific to that cause today, but obviously this day and what it means is way more than a color, way more than a flag, way more than a barbecue or fireworks. It's so much bigger than all of that. But yeah, that's kind of my intro to it, and I want to turn it over to you and kind of give your take on where we're at.
As far as like people celebrating it,
just your thoughts. The floor is yours in relation to Juneteenth. Wherever you want to go, you can drive us there.
Sure. I think it's obviously it's always dope for America as a whole to acknowledge the plight of Black folks in this country. Especially because I think one of the things that is misplaced in history that it really wasn't as long ago as you like to feel that it was. Like you hear 200, 400, however many hundred years, and that sounds one thing, but realistically, that's 2 or 3 generations ago. A friend of mine posted on his Facebook page, just basically in remembrance and honoring what today meant for him, that his great-great-grandmother was a slave. And a lot of people didn't really know anything about her because back then, what was it? Like, they weren't allowed to read, they weren't allowed to write. So the stories that he knows of her are stories from her sister and his mom and, like that. And so when you put it in that perspective, it's like Courtney is 3rd generation right now. So she's got my mom and then my grandmother. If my great grandmother was still alive, Courtney, that's right there, like the direct correlation to how, I don't know, just it wasn't that long ago. There are people who remember certain aspects of life that people would really wish that we could write out of history books, that we'd stop, boo-hooing over and running back to and pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and run after that American dream. So I guess for me, like, I first learned about Juneteenth as a kid from a book that I read. I can't remember the name of the book. And it was, the whole story was around like the weekend of Juneteenth, and then like the conclusion of the story, Juneteenth happened, and it just basically explained, why they celebrate it and all of that. But the central family in the story were sharecroppers on a farm where the grandmother was a slave, and they still worked for the family that that used to own them as slaves. So it's like, you read stuff like that as a kid, and it's just like, dang, I can't believe this really used to happen, and this was so long ago. But as you get older, you realize it really wasn't that long ago. And to see where we are as a country, culturally, racially, however you want to look at it, from that aspect, like the passing of the federal holiday, it's great. Another paid holiday for all my friends who work regular jobs. Like, I work for me, so any day can be an off day for me. But to me, there are quite a few other things that I would have preferred to have been passed. I think the pandering to Black people is just, it's time for that to stop, and real things need to happen that really affect us as a community and as a whole and push us forward. Like, again, yay, we get to celebrate it and acknowledge it, and we get the sales, and then maybe there'll be parades and stuff now, however people want to handle it. But I can think of like 10 other acts, bills, things that are sitting on the Congress floor right now that I would have preferred something happen with.
Yes, 100%. So I echo that sentiment, and probably take it a little step further. So I'll pick up there. And this was my frustration with this last election cycle, since you kind of ended on the political part. And we talked about this earlier today, and I don't know, you say the pandering has to stop. But if I'm the Democrats, why would I stop? I keep getting the votes. They keep supporting us. And I talked and I kind of shared, I felt like in this last election, voting for Trump was considered voting for a racist. And if you look at the example that Georgia has in place with their governor and his desire to, regardless of the federal mandate.
Mr. Brian Kemp.
Mr. Brian Kemp. Yes, name him.
Yeah.
I didn't, and that's because he's a special kind of dumb to me.
A special case.
But this is my I guess, not even gripe, my confusion with the Republican Party. You saw what just happened in this last election. You saw what happened in Detroit. You saw what happened definitely in Atlanta. You saw what happened in Arizona. You saw areas where you ran, even places you won. You didn't win them like you used to win them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that was because black people got out and vote and because you alienated black people. The bar is so low for Democrats that they have to do little to nothing to get the black vote. And as a Republican, I would think that you would sit down, look in the mirror and say, you know what? They're not doing much. Let's just give them a little bit. Give them just and I'm not gonna call it a useless holiday, but for me, I'm going to work. Had we been open, like we didn't get no extra paid time. There wasn't no time and a half. There was nothing for today. People that worked today for my job got nothing. It's a regular day. It's St. Patrick's Day. It's Cinco de Mayo. It's just another holiday in relation to at least my job. And I know a lot of jobs that aren't federally based that did not get any kind of real extra incentive. But to go out of your way as the governor to say we are not going to celebrate it in this state is just utterly idiotic. Like, what are you trying to prove? Like not we, because I'm not Democratic or Republican. As a human being, as an intelligent politician, you would think, just ride the wave. Come out and support it. You don't got to believe it. We know y'all don't care about us on either side. Let's not get this confused here. If y'all cared about us, they would pass some of the laws we've been talking about. The George Floyd bill is still sitting. Police unions are still running things. Police are still shooting people, killing unarmed people, beating people, just destroying communities. Defunding the police has happened in little to nowhere. And
places that it has happened, technically, they haven't really made any real moves to actually reallocate the funds.
Correct. So it's either going in the politician's pocket or it's nothing's being done with it. So that's what it takes, and you still get a ton of black support. Just keep your mouth shut. And that's what I was saying when former President Trump was running. Sometimes you just got to know when to shut up.
And he never did.
And he never did. Like, I miss, and I'll be honest, I don't know what the president's been doing his first 6 months in office. I've seen and heard very little from him. I've seen a couple news outlets. I think we had one State of the Union, maybe.
Mm-hmm. But you don't typically have a whole bunch.
When that last administration, I knew exactly what was going on.
I mean, there have definitely been fewer press conferences.
There's been little to none. There's no tweeting that I can tell. Nothing of any significance.
Do you actually follow Joe Biden to see him tweet?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't follow him, but like I'm on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And if he said anything of merit, like it would get traction.
Yeah, true.
Like I don't know if I've watched CNN since the election outside of maybe, I don't think since he's been sworn in, there's been nothing to really watch. I would be curious to know what their ratings, news industries across the board, I wonder what their ratings have been like.
I mean, like he just got back from the trip to Europe and I haven't heard a whole lot.
You know what I heard about today?
What?
Their dog died.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See,
that's what the news I've gotten.
Today.
Oh, I'm sorry. Their dog died on Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. I think it was Friday. And that's the news from them. Now, I've heard people reporting about what happened over there, and most of that's been memes. I don't even know what substantive conversations really came from it. Like, I would have thought you would have said something. I didn't hear anything today on Juneteenth. I got to go back and check Twitter, but I didn't hear anything from the vice president or the president. I'm sure they may have said something, but it wasn't newsworthy. When Israel and the Palestine, they've been going back and forth. I didn't hear any press conference. I haven't heard any speaking. Israel changed the leader of their country. They ousted Netanyahu, and I haven't heard nothing.
I did,
like an opinion one way or the other. So that to me is, I miss that. I would need to know something about what's going on. And, you know, I'm sorry that your dog died, but I would rather hear about other things besides when I do hear that this is not a racist country. And it's interesting that you pull up her Vice President Kamala Harris and her banner. It's not nothing black.
It's Happy Pride Month.
It's Happy Pride Month. You can take it down for a day. You can give us today. Like, I get we're in Pride Month. I'm with it. But there's a speech.
Yeah, she tweeted, and it looks like there was some sort of press conference, and I know that there was stuff on TV.
So anything about policy?
No, because I don't believe she's really tweeted much about policy. Yeah, so she's tweeted a few times
she retweeted
on Saturday.
That's so cool. So there's a couple tweets. So good for her. But again, like, nothing to me newsworthy. And that either means a lot of shady stuff's going on, or they're really working. But I have no idea what they're working on, because prices still going up. And
so the same person that sorry to interrupt you. I feel like the same person that manages her account manages his account. They posted the exact same thing, exact same caption, exact same time.
So what you're saying is, and they have the same banner.
Yes, they do have the same Happy Pride Month banner.
So I'm just going to go out on a limb here and assume they didn't actually write that.
You can. Okay, well, that was from her VP page. Let's see what she's got on her own personal page. No, this is about the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah,
the rights.
We're back early. She's definitely not gonna do it ahead of time.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's the part that I'm disappointed in. So then we get to you talked about the sales.
I mean, as soon, like, they passed it Thursday, and I talked to my mom, and she had already gotten the day off Friday.
Good for her.
Yeah. And then I think I woke up Friday and I was checking my emails, and I had like 3 in my Reaction Apparel account from distributors giving discounts so that I could push out bulk product for this weekend. But like, that's crazy, because like, what am I going to be able to get to people overnight? Like, nobody's paying for that kind of shipping. No. And then 2, it's like, I don't even understand what this sale is for. Like, do you understand what you're giving me a discount for? Like, none of the companies. And then I had a whole bunch in my other email accounts. I was like, y'all are on it. I felt actually kind of slackerish because I didn't do anything as a business for Juneteenth today. It was Saturday.
I'll let you run your business. I did wonder about that. I know we had talked about it previously. And, you know.
I decided against it. Just because, like, it felt weird. Like, I know I'm a black-owned business.
I was about to say, but you are who people should be. If they're going to spend their dollars today, I feel like you should make yourself available to.
And like, again, so part of me is like, sure, like, I have things that could have been Juneteenth appropriate. I didn't have anything with Juneteenth splattered across my, the shirts or anything. It's just, for what it's worth, what my brand stands for, I'm tired of it just being a t-shirt. I'm tired of it just being a saying, a slogan, like all of that, just imagery, the symbolicity, like not symbolicity, symbolism. I'm just tired of that look, and that's why a lot of my designs and my shirts and stuff, like, I kind of shy away from all of that because a lot of other brands are already doing it, and I don't want to be just like everybody else. So, I posted Happy Juneteenth or whatever, and I just let it rock. Maybe I'll do something next year. I don't know.
I mean, that's fair. I think I saw a couple brands, and I am pretty ingrained in, I guess, urban sneaker culture. And I feel like they did, there were a couple brands that I thought did some good things. Billionaire did something with a black-owned skate team or skate park somewhere that was based out of Indiana. And sales from their shirt are going to go towards that group and driving that. A couple people took down their websites, didn't sell anything.
Yeah.
The only thing on their sites was educational stuff, links to different organizations where if you wanted to spend money, they gave you outlets.
I see
for
I'm
that.
with that. Yeah.
So no, I definitely think they did well there. Nike put something out, which I thought was cool. And Nike has, I haven't seen the money, but they've dedicated, I think well over $100 million. And
they stood by Cap, so I'm with them.
They've stood by Cap, they've stood by Braun, they've supported people who have been outspoken. And so I'm not.
Ben and Jerry's, I think.
They do something there?
Yeah, I think they did too. And
not
I'm
surprising.
always with Ben and Jerry's.
Because even before their Cap brand, which I can't find in stores anymore, their ice cream. But no, they've done some different things with even private prisons where they've come out against them years ago now. So brands like that. And so here's the other distinction for me. And I definitely advocate, I think first on your list should be supporting a black business.
Mm-hmm.
But if there are non-minority or white-owned businesses that are putting real resources behind furthering the cause, like I can get with it. If you shopped at Nike today, like I'm not gonna kill you for that. If you I don't believe Ben and Jerry are black. Yeah, I don't think so. But I'm okay with that. I prefer, and I try to spend where I do, in black. Just in general, went to a restaurant today. Oh, I'm sorry, on Friday. What's today's? What is today? I don't think today's Friday. Oh, Lord. So it's actually Juneteenth. I am all over the place because usually we record on a different day, and I'm thrown off, and then I was off on Friday. It's just, I'm a mess. So appreciate y'all bearing with me. So on Juneteenth, we went to a black-owned restaurant and had a pretty good time. I did manage to pass along they might want to diversify their wall art, but for different reasons, they're kind of limited on that. But no, I think the other takeaway, and I don't want to make this all negative, is I do like the impact. I like the response that I've seen on social media in that, yes, people are aware of it, but I've seen a lot of education being blasted. And I tried to do that with our page. If you haven't, please definitely go check that out, our Instagram and Facebook. And I think there is and I've kind of shared what I think it takes to change this country, but I think knowledge and education is also important. I'm not going to speak against that. And supporting monetarily matters. Go ahead.
For what it's worth, that's not, I don't want to say that's all that matters, but it's like 90% of supporting any cause, because it's always going to be money driven. These bills, these things, lobbyists, they don't make camp in DC for no reason. You want something passed, you want something done, you got to have the right people and enough money behind it to push it. So supporting a cause or supporting companies that have a voice in something that matters to you is really important.
Definitely agree with that. I will be curious to see, and I don't know how we get there, but if there are, and I haven't necessarily seen any politicians, AOC I know is really polarizing. I don't know if anyone has said anything like, hey, Juneteenth, we need to pass more policy, which I kind of want them to say it, not just...
They're not going to.
Which is the problem.
Yeah.
But as we get into this, we just had an election cycle here in Virginia, and...
Primaries, yeah.
I didn't hear much about changing laws that impact us.
At least not from the people who won.
Right.
Like we had like a record number of
candidates,
not necessarily just candidates, but African American female candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in Virginia, but I think in a few other states, in the primaries that just passed for those states. And I don't believe any of them won, but there were a lot of them. So that is something that I personally like to see. One, because I do feel that if policies and things are going to change. We need more of us in office. So I know how you feel about the system. So.
I do. There was
burn it down.
There was a black man that oversaw Breonna Taylor's case, and that didn't go well.
What do you mean? The attorney?
Yeah.
Oh.
Piece of trash. So yes, I do think in general the likelihood is better when they look like us, but there hasn't been a lot of correlation to black rights getting passed because black people are in office, whether it's the president, the vice president, the governor, congressman, HUD secretary. It's kind of fallen on deaf ears this far. But I'm going to pivot a little bit, and y'all can kill me if y'all want. I haven't really got killed by anybody because we haven't had a ton of comments. We've had some dialogue on some things, and I'm good with that. So I like Juneteenth. I'm with it. Like, go Juneteenth. But here's my problem with now where Juneteenth falls.
Oh, jeez.
It falls in June. You know what else is June?
Father's Day.
No. Pride Month.
Oh.
Another very large group with a large following, with a large influence. Larger influence than the following. And now we have Juneteenth, which is another huge upswell, groundswell of support and rah-rah and yeah. You know what else is in June? You said it. Father's Day. Can I tell you how little I heard about Father's Day this weekend? Little to none. I didn't get no Father's Day emails. I don't think there was any Father's Day sales for real. You said, either you or Courtney said there was one at Lowe's. Lowe's or Home Depot. That's what we've divulged to.
Aww.
We were already an afterthought. Generally speaking, this isn't my household. But nationally, I watch sports all the time. Nothing. Not a Father's Day. I've seen a bunch of Juneteenth ESPN things. No Father's Day stories. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And maybe, that we record before Father's Day, so maybe on Father's Day there'll be some sprinkles of something here and there.
Oh, man.
Nothing. So I'm a little upset.
Just a little? You sound a little more than a little.
Because women, y'all had a whole month in March. Men don't get that. We have a day. A single day. Valentine's Day is not a man's day. Okay?
But you get treated really well for Valentine's.
Listen, I put the disclaimer out there. I'm not talking about my house. But I think the reason why I get treated well on Valentine's Day and Father's Day and my
your birthday and Christmas. Because your love language is gift.
Right.
That whole thing.
But here's my reason.
Oh, Jesus.
Because for too long,
not the banging on the table,
men have allowed this to happen. We have sat back and taken socks and underwear and been forced and enslaved to grill out.
Forced and enslaved
by society that it is
our
our responsibility to grill on our day. And I'm sick of it. I am so sick and tired.
I'm going to have to adjust the audio when we
of being sick and tired. So as a black man, I'm frustrated. Because we got Juneteenth, but we ain't getting no policy. But I'm as angry. Because now Father's Day get even less. And if you raggedy women out there,
oh my God,
try and say something crazy by being a single parent on Father's Day, I will make time for y'all. And I will comment and let you know just how much and how little I think of y'all trying to steal our day.
You done?
I am not done. Now I'm going to allow you to respond however you see fit, but this is not over. And I'm not happy about it. And something needs to be done. Either Father's Day needs to be moved.
They're not going to move Father's Day.
It's arbitrary. They don't care about it anyway. It's like the worst holiday of the year. And I'm not going to compare us to military or veterans or anything like that.
No,
what I'm going to say...
bad commercials.
I know. Halloween gets a ton of commercials. Halloween. No one even knows what it's really about. But you know what? There's a ton of Halloween sales. And guess who takes the kids trick-or-treating? The fathers.
I totally take the kids well, I guess it's a little different.
So I ain't drive to the church to watch Trolls. I didn't dress up as Scooby-Doo.
You dressed up as Scooby-Doo because you wanted to.
To match the boys. My point is, the fathers were there. And they give more love and respect to St. Patrick's Day, to Cinco de Mayo, New Year's Eve. All get more love and support than Father's Day. And I'm sick of it. And I don't know if I need to start a GoFundMe. I don't know what I need to do. But something must be done to save Father's Day.
Save Father's Day.
Because if it's falling anywhere near Juneteenth going forward, the marketing was clear. Juneteenth is getting the marketing dollars. Father's Day, forget about it. So, that's my minor rant. I hope all the fathers had a blessed and highly favored and well-respected kingly day, as you deserve. But next year, something needs to be done. I don't know if it's the third Sunday. We don't even know when it is.
Yes, you do.
It's the third Sunday. Well, they need to change that. It cannot be the same week as Juneteenth. We need a separate weekend from Juneteenth because, especially black men, we are not going to get anything on Father's Day. And I don't like it. I'm done.
Oh man, like I knew you was gonna go in, but I didn't think you were gonna go in, and like you went in and like dove deep.
Only way I know.
Deep in there. And so I agree with you that over the years, I guess Father's Day has gotten a lot less fanfare.
A lot less. When was it ever fanfare?
Like, I remember Father's Day being a big deal when I was a kid.
To who?
To people. Like, I remember commercials. I remember we always went out, or like we always did stuff for Father's Day.
Right, but you've explained that your family was unique. I think the other part is I don't think we're in school when Father's Day typically comes around.
No, we're not usually.
So the schools don't force us to support it either. And that starts young. We raise them up to not support it in our school systems. And they need to change that too. I don't care that y'all making kids go back to school in like July. And they get out in April now, which is just absurd. They need to do something for the dads. They need to have a Father's Day celebration. Because we don't get to celebrate Father's Day when they're in school. Continue.
Jesus. And okay, so we're in the same, what's the Marriage Club group on Facebook?
Marriage goals, maybe?
No, I think it's just the Marriage Club.
Okay, yeah.
Facebook group. And
invite. Just kidding. The
last couple weeks, there have been a lot of posts from the men in the group regarding gifts and how to appreciate and honor the men in your life that are fathers. And you have been very vocal on, I think, just about every one of those posts I've seen. There's been a few. So I knew that this was probably going to be coming.
Haven't seen a lot of women championing this day. Not in that group. Or on social media.
Not that, even there, like the women were like, yeah, babes, we got y'all. Like,
if y'all could read the comments of what they mean when they say we got y'all, it makes you sick. Okay. Continue.
So, and then I also don't agree with the whole, single moms saying I'm the father. Like, it's just, and it's not even just weird. It's inappropriate is the word maybe, for all the men that are part of their kids' lives. And to see someone say a lot of the disparaging things I've seen women say about Father's Day, like, I can definitely understand a gripe there. Like, today is about fathers, is about men. For what it's worth, 364 days of the rest of the year are typically about women. Like most of the other holidays, they cater to women. There's a lot more advertising. There's a lot more drive to make the woman happy. So, like, I understand, like, the frustration that is clearly pent up inside of you. But it's, like you said, it's the man's fault. Like, y'all have let it become this almost joke of a holiday.
I need to research the history behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where did it come from? To maybe explain how it got here.
Because typically, I mean, honestly, men are so much more laid back about holidays. It's like...
Well, what happened to us?
But, I mean, even think about our household. I'm the driving force behind us celebrating most of the things that we do. Like, I've been asking for a few weeks now, what are we doing for the 4th of July? Or I'll ask, what are we doing for...
What?
I haven't asked.
Like twice.
Nope, it's been more than twice.
It hasn't.
It has.
It has not.
Okay. I've asked quite a few times about a bunch of different holidays, and I always ask.
What other holidays?
Memorial Day, Veterans Day. Like, I asked
I came
Labor
to
Day.
you.
I'm just saying,
Okay, go
generally
ahead.
speaking,
Mm-hmm.
men are a lot more laid back about holidays.
I just want you to know you're walking down a dangerous path if you keep going where you're going. And I'm going to let you walk there, and then I'm going to be there waiting for you. But continue.
You done?
No. This is
Clearly.
a podcast. I'm not done.
Jeez.
But go ahead. Men are laid back on holidays.
9 times out of 10, men are a lot more laid back about holidays. They don't really care what happens. And for the most part, if you look through those same threads of comments and culturally watch episodes of random TV shows, men are just like, hey, baby, whatever. Okay, programming or not, that's the message that's out there.
Yeah.
So, hey, babe, as long as I get a good meal and a cool gift or whatever, it's not a big deal. And so, it's not a big deal is engraved in a lot of people. That's not everybody. I know a lot of people who make a big deal of Father's Day. Like, originally, I wanted to have a barbecue for Father's Day. But when I reached out to our group of friends, they had already made plans for their husbands and fathers and all of that for Father's Day. So, like, I don't think it's as broad scale as you feel like it is of men not being acknowledged on Father's Day. Now, on TV and all of that, sure. But, again, in our household...
You don't need to raise your voice at me. I
wasn't raising my voice at you.
I put the disclaimer out there saying, but
you
you want to know why?
Emphasizing.
Because I will not allow it.
Even if you didn't feel the way you feel, like, I would celebrate you for Father's Day. Period. Like, the same way that I want to be celebrated for whatever I want to be celebrated for, I would celebrate you.
So, yes, women want to be celebrated. And the path that you just walked is basically what, and this is my takeaway, and correct me if I'm wrong. Women want to be celebrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all holidays are geared towards women.
Most of them, yeah.
Right. So what you're telling me is women, and I'm not going to use an adjective to describe them. I'm going to just simply paint a picture. Women who have every single holiday catered towards them.
It's not every single holiday. You can't say every single. That's too much of a definitive.
Every gift-giving holiday outside of Father's Day is targeted towards women. And the reason being is because men are so laid back that we don't beat down the door to be celebrated. And we take a laid back approach in being celebrated. And you know what we get for that behavior?
Socks.
We get Father's Day. So women who have every single gift-giving holiday, even the one that we want, they still do not take the initiative to make it the celebration. But God forbid a man forgets an anniversary. God forbid a man forgets a birthday.
You sound like a television announcer.
God forbid a man don't do something for Mother's Day. The internet and society would destroy said man. I watched the video.
Oh, God.
Recently, a woman got down on her knee.
Oh, man. This is there, yeah.
To propose to a man. When I tell you those comments about how disgusted women were with her.
Yeah, because that ain't it, sis. That ain't
Why not?
Because it's not.
Why not? She too good?
I'm not saying she's too good, but it's a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. It's not the other way around. And if he's not asking you...
Finding and asking for marriage is not the same thing.
Either way.
No, it's not either way. You can't throw the Bible in and then be like, oh, that's why a man can't propose. Because you do know back when closer to when the Bible was written, marriages were arranged.
Right. And who was doing the arranging?
The parents.
The men.
The parents.
The men were doing the arranging.
And why would they do it? Most of the arrangements, you want to know why? Because they wanted the land. They didn't care about the girl.
Exactly.
So women were insignificant. If your dad had money, and we've seen it on a bunch of shows that we watch, they marry the women to gain power and respect. There ain't no love there.
You done? I feel like this is not where this podcast was going, and you're just on a tangent now. And the reality of it is, that's just what Father's Day has become for some people.
Most.
I feel like you should be appreciative of the fact that your Father's Day isn't like that. And pray that other men in the world, in the country, wherever else Father's Day is celebrated, get to experience what Father's Day is like in a loving household with people who want to celebrate them. Because being so angry about it, like, I mean, sure, go start a GoFundMe, petition for them to move on Father's Day, which is ridiculous, by the way. But you can do all of that. But for the men who are not as high strung about it as you are, they're not going to care either way. So again, like, the men who care, I'm sure, like you, they voice to their wives, babe, you got me on Father's Day. And I'm sure the conversation goes similarly to how conversations in our household go.
I doubt it.
Like, that's probably true. But either way, men who want to be acknowledged for Father's Day.
What man doesn't want to be acknowledged? Let's answer that for me.
Men who don't want to take care, men who don't take care of their kids, and men who don't want to be involved with their kids.
That is not the case. I know a ton of men that are great fathers that don't put pressure on women to have Father's Day, but we want that crap. We want to be celebrated. We break our backs and our necks to build sustainable, safe places for our families to live in. And no, we don't want to beg for a gift.
You sound like you're begging right now, though, on behalf of all those men who...
All right, so let me address that, because you brought that up like 4 times. And so I've been waiting to address it, but now I'm going to address it. You are, in essence, telling me to shut up and dribble.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Because you're saying, because your house is good, you shouldn't be complaining. You're right, my house is good. But there's a bunch of men's houses that aren't. And so I'm not going to just sit up here and say, oh, you know what? My house is great, so I'm not going to say nothing about Father's Day. Because it's still a problem.
And I literally just said, if you want to go start a GoFundMe, if you want
You said all that sarcastically.
I mean, because that was sarcastic.
Which is my point. So what you're saying is Colin Kaepernick shouldn't have kneeled. Because he had a starting job.
That is so different.
It is the exact same thing.
It's
People
not the
of
exact
influence,
same thing.
They're not impacted the same way George Floyd was impacted. But they chose to use their voice to speak for the people that can't speak up.
So you're saying that all these men who are not being celebrated on Father's Day, none of them can speak up for themselves?
They can, but they don't. Just like there's a bunch of black people that can speak up, but they don't. They go to jobs that they hate. They deal with being stereotyped. They deal with being followed around. They deal with being discriminated against. And they keep their mouth shut. Mm-hmm. But when people get to a place where they no longer have to worry about that, they can then speak their mind. Mm-hmm. And I'm in a position where I can speak my mind. So yes, my Father's Day is going to be good because I fought for my Father's Day to be good. And if my Father's Day sucked, it probably would suck for a lot of people because yes, I would make it unhappy and uncomfortable. And that's the decision that I make. A lot of men won't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just enjoy the day and keep their head down, keep their mouth shut, because happy wife, happy life. God forbid they go to their wife and say, no, you need to match what I did for Mother's Day. Most men are not going to have that conversation. And if they did, they'll get laughed out the room. If I went into a group of women and said Father's Day should be the same as Mother's Day, they would look at me like I'm dumb. If I said I bought you a $20,000 engagement ring, or a $20,000 wedding ring, I should have a $20,000 wedding ring. What you think people gonna say? Boy, if you don't get out of here and shut up and take your stainless steel Walmart ring. But because I want equality, now something wrong. And so no, I'm not just going to enjoy my day and act like my Father's Day is going to be blah, blah, blah. Because yes, my Father's Day is going to be dope. But that's because that's a standard in this house. And it's not a standard in this country. And so when I get an opportunity to use my platform here or on other podcasts, I'm going to keep saying the same thing until I see equality. The same thing I'm going to do for black rights. I'm not taking no dumb holiday or no weak bills in Congress that have no teeth, that don't hold anyone accountable, and cheer that on like it's some celebration. Because my life is good. I have been fortunate to not have a bunch of guns put in my face. I've been stopped by the police a lot of times. I've done some wrong things, and I've lived to tell about it. But there's a bunch of people that haven't. And so for me to say, well, it don't impact me, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, absolutely not. No way, no how. Not how I'm built. I'm done.
I can't tell.
I just told you.
Okay, so again, after your tangent, I just said, I don't have an issue with you wanting to advocate for Father's Day. If you'd like to advocate for Father's Day, knock yourself out. But at the same time, the mentality that some men have, that's what it's going to be. So again, right on to Father's Day. Father's Day is going to be great. I know a lot of people who celebrate the men in their lives. I know of even more people, culturally, especially in this country, that celebrate the men in their lives, despite what you might see on TV. So, do I feel like there needs to be like this grand uprising of all the men in the country to push for a different day of Father's Day or anything like that? No, I don't. But if you feel like that's necessary, if you feel like you need to bring men together and do something like that, babe, knock yourself out. Like, it'll be great. I fully 1000% support you.
And this is why.
What did I do now?
This is why it's just different. Like, I watched the pod today, Joe Budden podcast, I watch all the time. Every single one of, and they had the conversation. I said the same thing to you this weekend. I didn't even realize it was Father's Day weekend. When we were planning what we were going to do on Saturday, and you're talking about going to the water park, or that same, when I was talking to you on Saturday, I said something like, oh, we can do it next weekend for Father's Day. And right. Father's Day was the next day.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I've been talking about Father's Day. I talk to you about the holidays. Because, one, I want to make plans.
Right,
two,
but your perspective
you
and
didn't
my
realize that it was Father's Day weekend, and I don't understand how. If it's
you don't
so
understand
important
how,
to you.
That's the point I'm making. That is the point I'm making. I guarantee you I know when Mother's Day is going to be. I guarantee I know when Valentine's Day is going to be. I guarantee I know when Christmas and Thanksgiving is going to be. Because the world makes sure you know. I asked Courtney today, or not today. I asked Courtney on Saturday. I said, you've been watching TV. You seen any Father's Day commercials? No. I think I saw something for Home Depot. I've been watching sports for weeks. Nothing about it. So yes, again, my house and maybe your group of friends, yes, they're doing great things, and I hope they have a great time. But I wish we had time to poll men and ask how many new Father's Day was coming up. Because none of the men I talked to have said anything about it.
I mean, we can do a poll. Like, how was your Father's Day?
Not how was it. And again, I only want to hear from men on this particular thing because you and I, we don't, you can't see it. You can't see it.
Okay.
So, where are we at on time?
Do you care?
Of course, I just asked.
We
That's
are
why I care. All right. So that leads me to my next topic. I'm curious to know how you go about this because I saw something and I didn't say anything. And we talked about it briefly. But, so, I'm not going to use any adjectives. I'll just say her name. Jada Pinkett Smith. Shakur. That was a joke. Recently, Tupac would have celebrated his 50th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought it best, because she was so excited, to release a letter that he wrote her the day before his birthday. And actually, and I don't have it here because I use my phone to record, so I can look it up in more detail. But she had a really thoughtful caption into what she said, and she did this leading up to, and she can't control when his birthday was, but it's leading up into Father's Day. And obviously they have kids together, and she has a show, Red Table Talk, and on that Red Table Talk, they discussed a number of things, specifically the joke of, was it last year? Or has it been 2 years or year last year?
No, it was last year.
So the joke of, for Will Smith, I love the guy, I don't know how he does it, was the entanglement joke. And how hilarious it was, and how pitiful he looked, how embarrassed he looked on the national stage. And God bless him, he handled it in stride. Since then, he seemingly have put it behind him. But for whatever reason, Jada just wants the world to know how much Tupac cared about her. And ultimately how much she cared about him. And regardless of the fact there's a song called Entanglement, and regardless of whatever hasn't been confirmed about their relationship, I'll leave it at this before I turn it over to you. I thought the timing was poor. But I did want your take on it. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I just wanted to get your take on what you thought of the whole situation.
Honestly, I didn't really think too much into it. I don't understand the necessity of posting the letter, the poem that he wrote to her. That's a little bit awkward to me, just because you guys had such a close friendship, relationship, whatever it may be. If you wanted to keep something like that, that's something that you keep. To me, I would think you would keep that personal, private, whatever. Wanting to recognize his birthday is one thing. Wanting to acknowledge, the loss of a friend, the loss of someone who was really important to you, on what would have been what is it?
Significant milestone.
Yeah, milestone birthday. I can completely understand that, just generally across the board, that a lot of people do that. I just don't understand the necessity of posting the letter itself. I don't think she also thought that anything about it being so close to Father's Day. I don't think she took into consideration how it could have made Will look or feel after the whole August thing. I would be interested to know if people cared about it the same way they do now after the whole August thing happened, because it's no secret, big reveal that her and Pac had a great relationship. Like, they grew up together, they were in the industry together for a really long time. Like, they were really close for a really long time before, you know, he passed away. And people have never really said anything about the relationship before being any kind of way. But I guess in light of the August situation, it just looks bad for her. Some people can look at it and feel that she's continuing to disrespect Will.
How do you feel?
I don't care. Like, I don't.
You don't think it's disrespectful?
I don't feel like it's disrespect. Like, again, like, I thought it was excessive. I didn't feel disrespect in reading, especially when you read the poem itself, because that poem later became a song. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel there was disrespect behind the intent of what she did. Again, like, my friend passed away. Regardless of how
long ago?
It doesn't matter. Like,
it doesn't matter?
No, my friend, like, somebody who was super close to me, friend, family, somebody that you loved passed away. And
I've had people I love pass away.
But you handle things differently than other people, right?
And
like,
she's a married woman that has already brought shame on her marriage and her family and her husband. It matters. Context matters.
So,
and he
again,
died like 20-something years ago.
But so then again, context matters. Then you read the poem, and the poem isn't like, oh, I want to kiss you, slob you down, I love you, and I'm gonna love you for forever type thing. Like, you read the poem, and the poem is literally about him dying before he has a chance to really live his life and express the things that he wants to express.
You're focusing on the wrong person. You're focusing on what he said.
And so again, if content matters or context matters, you're looking, she's saying, we're getting ready to celebrate his legacy of who he was as a person, to the culture, to the industry, to people who knew him and loved him. Like, again, like, do I feel like the posting of the poem was excessive? You could have done it differently. You could have posted a picture, however you choose to acknowledge your friend's passing and his birthday posthumously. Sure. I guess my answer is just not good enough for you.
It's not that it's not good enough or anything like that, but this is, I think this is the dichotomy of men and women and the vast chasm that there is between the two. And the reason one of the things that I wanted to ask of you is because I saw that you actually liked this post. And I got a ton of issues with this post. From his perspective, my understanding is it was written to her, right?
Yeah, while he was in jail.
It ends with love. So, if that's where he is, and he's in jail, and he decided to write this to you and sign it with love, there's clearly something there. And so what you decided to do, I'm speaking of Jada, is right before Father's Day, maybe a year after the distasteful red table talk with your husband, when Messy August went and started popping his mouth off, you chose this time to share this. This letter is what, probably 30 years old? It looks like it's in pristine condition.
It does, though. Like, it looks really good for it to be that old.
Why do you still have this? First off. 2, we don't need to share that. We don't need to know about this. To be honest, I imagine most people don't care. This was meant to shame Will again. And I don't know what Will did to her back before when she said she was going through a really dark time and they were separated. But to me, it has been her mission to humiliate him to the world. And she clothed it in an entanglement and tried to be cute about it. And this is just that all over again. And this is why I say when people do certain stuff, you got to treat them for who they are. Because if you let them do it once, they will do it again, and it will get progressively worse. And really, like I said, there's a bunch of other stuff that she did. She was so excited. She says, P.S. I was planning to post tomorrow, which is why the video says today is Pac's birthday. But I decided to do it early with a bunch of wives. You're so giddy. Focus on your husband. Like, why are you so emotionally caught up in somebody that died over 20 years ago? God forbid the last time y'all were romantically involved or whatever it is. It's just super disrespectful. It's distasteful. And that's the part where I just get stuck with women. And in this case, I will use you with like, yeah, she did it. Was it a little extreme? Yeah. This was super disrespectful. Why do you have it? Why are you sharing it? And the kicker for me was, at some point she says, I got next. The heck does that mean?
She turns 50 next.
Okay. I got next. So I can live with that. But by all accounts, that emoji typically emphasizes, and it's the emoji with the, I think it's with the wink and the tongue out. What are we insinuating here? We know what we're insinuating. It's just so freaking disrespectful. And
well, would you still feel the same way if you didn't know any of the August stuff?
100%.
Why?
I would.
Because you don't know anything about their relationship.
I know he's been dead and you're married. And you don't need to be showing love letters from 30 years ago. Why do you have them? When you moved in here, there was a bag of letters some from you and some from other people. And I said, you can throw them out today. I cared about those people at that time. None of them died, but I cared about those people. But that part of my life is dead. When I chose to marry you, that stuff dies. Don't bring that bull crap from before me into our marriage. And then to remind it 30 years later? Like, it's just, I don't understand. And Will and Kevin Hart did a Red Table Talk yesterday. Haven't got a chance to watch it yet just because of when we record, but I don't get him. Like, I don't know what he did or what she has on him that he keeps swallowing and eating this. But it sucks. I said it before. I said she was trash before with the August stuff. And I don't know why he went on that show looking like that and why they didn't edit that or reshoot it at a later time. He looked awful. And he looks trash again. And from up to this point, he ain't said nothing. And we talked earlier in this.
What is he supposed to say? Because if
I ain't with that.
But if he doesn't feel the same way as you, then and I don't know if you've ever heard him talk about him witnessing the relationship between him and Jada and Pac.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much you've ever looked into that or what the relationship was like. Like, Will, when he says in his life, one of his greatest regrets was not getting to know Tupac more because he was jealous of the relationship that him and Jada had. Not off of like a romantic thing, but platonically, they were such good friends. So,
which makes this all the more disrespectful. And if I was him, and given what we learned about August when he brought August in and tried to cater and care for August, which I would imagine was in response to what he did with Pac, what did it get him? I'm guessing, but I would imagine he was a little more open to August because of what happened with Tupac. And he looks like a clown. That's my guess. I don't know.
I feel like the situations are different, but
I think they're super similar.
How?
In the aspect that, because my understanding of Jada and August was they connected well.
No.
She was there for him when he was at a low point.
Yeah, like Jada brought him in because I guess he was friends with
her son
Jaden first, but he was sick and he didn't have a whole lot of people around him to help him.
Right.
And
he's at a low point.
Right. He needed help.
Right.
On a bunch of different, levels.
This letter is somebody that's at a low point.
But this letter isn't the entirety of their relationship.
Not. I'm just saying the similarities.
Where is the similarities between the August Jada relationship and the Tupac Jada relationship? To me, there are no similarities in that respect.
She had a very close bond with both of them.
She had a very close bond with Pac before anything. Like, they knew each other as kids. Like, she knew Pac. Like,
that doesn't matter. The bond is still... I don't care how the bond got there. There was a very strong bond there for both of these two gentlemen.
And so that makes the situations the same.
I said they're similar. I didn't say they were the same.
Okay.
And so I believe Will saw how his response to the first time she had a really close relationship with someone. And given this... it's hard for me to believe there wasn't more than just a really close friendship. Because you know what August started out as? A mentor, then a really close friendship, then an entanglement. So, him writing love, all that, and like I said, I ain't putting this on him because Will wasn't in the picture. He can say that. But that lets me know where that relationship was.
I don't know. I think you're nitpicking some of this stuff. Like, even like at first glance, I can see that doesn't say yours. I mean, love. That says yours.
Yes, you're right.
Again,
yes. So,
when you're looking at
it's the same thing.
If context matters, if you're looking at,
what does yours mean? So okay, it's not love. So what is yours?
How do you close out a letter?
I mean, I don't know. Sincere. It depends on who I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. If it's a card to like a mother or a significant other, I just say love.
Love. Again,
so yours
context
is giving. So okay, I'll correct myself. It doesn't say love, but yours, if anything, love can be general. Yours is pretty specific, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Sincerely yours, or however you want to like. He's in essence said, "I'm yours," and that's what you decided to post. 30 years later, when you already got drama, when you just really, the drama, I guess, quieted down. Outside opened up, and this is your response. And you were just so giddy, you just had to share this. I thought she was trash before, it just reiterates how trash I think she is now. And I don't know why Will keeps dealing with it, but yeah. That's all I got on that.
Yeah, you can move on to the next trash person.
To the next trash person. And I got no defense for it. I don't get it. We had a conversation recently about Mello and Lala, and I expressed a perspective that you completely disagree with, and you refuse to even talk to me about it. But Mello, Mello, you, it's nasty. It's disgusting. Assuming everything is true. The Jada thing is right before me. I'm going off of what I've heard reported, and I've heard a number of different reports. I don't think I've seen this part reported on TMZ, and I do give TMZ a lot of credit. So I will preface this by saying, if what we're about to read is true, that's awful. Trash. We talked about separating the art from the artist. Like this is just awful. It's pathetic. So recently, Lala filed for a divorce, and they've had obviously a very tumultuous relationship, up and down. There's been, I believe it's pretty much been confirmed he's cheated before.
Because he's had another baby before.
Right. Okay. So Mello's cheated before. This was before I believe Lala turned into actress Lala. I think she did music.
She'd only done a few things.
Yeah. So the conversation that we had, and I'll bring kind of people into, was I said, I think on any level, when your significant other is, whether it be on, actually I won't use OnlyFans, But if she's on a broadcast nationally, and Lala's done a lot of, or not a lot, she's done a number of sexual roles where her body's been exposed, she's been intimate with men through acting. I personally believe that impacts a spouse. I don't have the stats to back it up. I think that plays a role in how you view that spouse. Y'all might be on a break, whatever it is, having the world and you having to see that, I think is going to play some kind of role. With that being said, this is unacceptable. Like, this is beyond, like, if you don't want to be with somebody, don't be with them. I know that kids are involved. I know how expensive divorces can be. But there has to be a level of respect that you have for a partner. That you just won't do certain stuff. And they always say the cover-up is worse than the act. Or the lie is worse than the action, however it's phrased. And this is that. So basically what is alleged is that Carmello Anthony got a woman pregnant with twins. And basically what he did was he flew her to London to have the babies, or to have the pregnancy, or finish the pregnancy, so that basically he could hide it, one, but two, to get them citizenship in another country. And even the foresight, I'm guessing he talked to somebody, but I don't get it. Like, if you don't want to be with the woman for whatever reason, whether it's what I talked about or just in general, don't be with her. But embarrassing her and your family like this is reckless. Like, Melo's not some 20-year-old rapper. He's not some 22-year-old ball player. Melo's in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
Because he came out the same year as LeBron, but he had went to college for years. So I think he's older than Bron by a year. So he's like 37, 38.
Closer to the end of his career.
Definitely close to the end of his career.
I mean, technically his career was over, and then he just so happened, you know, they gave him a chance.
There's reasons behind it. But no, you're right. His career was almost over. And he got another chance. And he did well in his role. But as a mature, like, you got a fairly, I think the oldest son is teenager?
He is. I think he's like 15.
Like,
and then I don't remember the year or how old the baby was that he had when him and Lala were on break.
And I'm not with that.
But even still, like, that kid's old enough to read and understand.
And if this is what's being reported now, I'm guessing, and if this is true, there's gonna be a lot more that's gonna come out, and it's already real bad.
But that's the thing, like, they were separated, what, 2017? They separated.
I don't know the dates, but
It
I'll
was,
go with that.
it was like 2017. They separated because she caught him cheating, and then, you know, they separated. They were living separate, and he begged his way back in, and she reconciled. And then I think very shortly after they reconciled, another story came out of him cheating, or just him being out with someone who was not Lala. Like, it's just the recklessness. At this point, like, we know that people can go through extreme measures to do their dirt and not get caught. But he just be out here with anybody, it seems like, and just doesn't care. No matter, I personally don't get it. I wouldn't have taken him back. I wouldn't have taken him back after the baby. Like, y'all can have him. He's clearly for the streets. Like, I don't get it. I mean, in part, I do understand. In part,
what part do you understand?
Just her wanting to her wanting to try to keep some semblance of a family for her son. Because you also have to think that Carmello has played professionally the boy's whole life. Mm-hmm. So he's already had limited interaction with him as a dad. But then to see him get older and read and see and all these things about his dad coming out, divorcing him and leaving him, like, I can partially understand why she would try to stay, to at minimum protect his son, to help him still have respect for his father. Right. But at this point, his father is showing that he clearly has no respect for his mom or their family.
Or them.
Or, right, for them in any way, shape, or form. So, there's not really a whole lot that Lala can do to protect him. Like, he wasn't allowed to have an Instagram, the boy. I'm pretty sure his name is pronounced Cayenne. Like, I'm not 100% sure.
They're oldest kid, whatever.
They only have one together.
I meant, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I meant the oldest kid.
He wasn't allowed to have Instagram for a long time, and she's kept him pretty sheltered from social media. But I'm sure he goes to private school, but he goes to private school with a bunch of other rich kids who have access. So it's not like he hasn't seen or heard or been the butt of jokes because his dad is out here wilding.
Just because he didn't see it on the internet doesn't mean
it wasn't. Yeah,
people didn't talk to him about it.
And so it's just like you said, Carmello, just go and be single.
I mean, like, she's taking the steps to make that happen.
Oh no, yes, I think because at this point, like, she's done. Like they quarantined together last year.
I read that.
You know, all of that, and for what it's worth, Lala has done a lot. I think, from what I've read, to try to maintain their relationship. Like, there was like that whole Kevin Garnett randomness of, you know, way back when.
But he was just
being disrespectful. Like, that was no reflection of anything that Lala was doing as a wife or anything like that. And Lala has been connected to the industry for the better part of like 20 years. Like, she started off at MTV. She hosts. Like, it's not that Lala don't get attention.
No.
She 100% could leave Carmello and end up with another.
No, she will.
Huh?
Find a new man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like I said, the joke is her and Kim are both getting divorced, and they hang out a lot.
Yeah.
So they gonna be outside.
It's about to be hot girl summer for real.
But I think the part that hopefully will factor for both of them. One, Kim got a bunch of kids that are young.
Yeah.
And I saw that she, on a recent interview, I guess she regretted kind of the sex tape or something. I didn't watch the interview. I just saw kind of the soundbite, which I kill people for going off of that. When it's just but that was the general gist, that like she recognizes that her fame came from it, but she kind of wishes it wouldn't have happened.
I mean, it's even more
in today's society. If her and Lala step out, their kids will know. And so I'm not saying it's fair to them, because they might want to, you know, have that hot girl summer and live that life. But when you got a young son, well, he's going
young
through adolescence now. Or when you got a bunch of young girls or a young boy, like, I understand the dads have to have a certain role of respect and level, but the moms do too. And so I will be curious to see how they embrace their freedom given that dynamic. And Kim allegedly wanting more of a low-key lifestyle, wanting to a certain extent. So it sucks for Lala. I've watched a number of shows she's been on, from Power to The Chi. I think she's solid. I thought it was awkward the first time I seen her in the scene where she, was out there, knowing that was Carmello's woman. So I recognize how that would have made me feel. But I also understand how the industry works. And if you're an attractive woman and you're trying to get your foot in the door, typically you got to play that role. Whether you look at all first seasons of big shows, the women in them, you got to do that unless you're already established. So I get it, but it sucks for her. It sucks for the children involved, and to the young lady, I don't have her name. Like, that's just crazy.
But apparently, he told her to have an abortion.
Right. Apparently, I guess they were born premature, and so they've been having.
One of them had heart problems.
Right, and he was. And again, I only saw one or two screenshotted DMs, but he wasn't super attentive to that. It was kind of like, so you want me to be put on child support? Is that what you want, or something like that? And I guess he's not on it. And so she was saying I should, and he's like, is that what you want? Like, just another reason why entertainers and celebrities shouldn't be role models. I'm not saying that they can't have a voice and speak up for certain causes, because Mello has done a number of good things for the city of Baltimore and other areas. I'm not taking that away from him. But as a role model, as a spouse, and at least in this regard, as a dad, I ain't with it.
I agree. You ain't gotta. We don't have to beat this horse till it's dead, because I'm just like, he is trash. Like, I've never had a whole lot to say about him as an athlete. Like, he was always just alright to me.
No, don't do that.
I mean, he was. Like, I wasn't like a huge Carmello fan, so I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to him. But I have always heard about his exploits outside of his relationship. So,
well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Do better, people.
Yeah, do better. So, that is what we got for today. I hope everyone enjoyed their Juneteenth celebrations.
And their Father's Day.
I was going to say that. And their Father's Day. I hope to all the fathers out there. I'm going to say this and then we can go.
Oh, jeez.
So, like, to people that, like, identify differently, do they get to celebrate Father's Day? If you're a woman that identifies as a man, but you have kids or something? Like, how does that work?
I have no idea.
Which one do you celebrate?
I'm not the person to ask. Like, I don't know.
I mean, you're more connected to the community. I just figured. And it's Pride Month, so I don't know.
Nope, I don't know. I figure, and this is just an assumption, that you celebrate as how you identify. And then I'll leave it at that. Beyond that, I have no idea. And quite frankly, it's none of my business. I don't care.
So I disagree with that. But yeah, so shout out to all the fathers on Father's Day. Shout out to all the black people. Hopefully we get some reparations. Hopefully we get some policy change. Hopefully we get some reversal of these voter suppression laws that have been passed. So they can't pass laws that help us, but they would definitely support ones and pass ones that hurt us and our ability to vote. I'm not going to go into a different topic because we're ending. So again, thank you.
Some cool stuff coming up. We're working on getting a few guests on the show.
We are definitely working on starting to incorporate guests for sure.
So yeah, we've got some cool things on the horizon. A great way to keep up with that is at thevonchronicles.com.
Yeah.
With all the information, like, what do you mean?
Yeah. It just, you said at and then gave a website. So I thought you were going to go social media and you went.
Oh, no, yeah.
So
I
just
went
threw
to the
me off.
website.
Yeah.
My bad.
I mean,
the website.
Works for me, works for them. So yeah, no, great episode. Thank you so much for your honest opinions. But as they say, in life, things happen. You have the power to choose what you do. Choose wisely and always bet on you. We love y'all and appreciate y'all. Like, share, and subscribe.